Well, there we have it. Bitcoin rejected off of $12,000. Once again, many people in crypto space turning bearish again. Kind of like a flip of the switch, but is it really time to get bearish? What should we really be watching for on the Bitcoin charts? Does Bitcoin have something up its sleeve? That's what I want to talk about in this video. What's up, everyone? Thanks for cruising by Crypto Capital Venture. Hit the subscribe on the way in. Let's jump into the video. I've been meaning to show you this. This is tradingview.com. It's always behind my face, but there's this technical indicator of sorts that's extremely useless. And basically, when Bitcoin goes down a little, it turns to sell. When Bitcoin goes up a little, it turns to buy. If you're one that likes to buy the dip, this is the worst indicator because it's pretty much doing opposite of probably what you should be doing, right? It's telling everybody to buy the top and sell the bottom in these short-term swings that Bitcoin has. I wanted to point that out because Bitcoin is down a little. We did get rejection off of 12,000, and I see people turning bearish all of a sudden, and I don't think that Bitcoin has turned bearish really, especially when we start looking at midterm to long-term charts. So I want to talk about that in this video. So yes, we got rejected off at 12,000. We're going to look at the short term. But before we do, it seems many have forgotten what has recently transpired the end of July. Bitcoin broke a very key trend line extending back to the bull market high. Do you remember this? This was a big deal. It's still a big deal because Bitcoin is potentially on its way to ridiculous gains. I mean, really, the height of this pattern is essentially the next bull market high that many are speculating. So this has happened, and many have forgotten. The other thing that has happened, besides just this breakout, is short-term resistance. We have a swing high, which is literally what happens all the time for Bitcoin in any upward environment. All you have to do is really scroll over to the last bull market, swing high, swing high, swing high, with huge bounces to the downside, but that doesn't mean Bitcoin was bearish. And we have to be very careful with how we really categorize and define Bitcoin in terms of these longer momentum moves that it is in. So the other thing is this: we did break this long-term upward trend line, and we talked about Bitcoin could retrace back to that trend line. Currently, if it did something like that right now, we're looking right around $10,000, $10,100. This would be healthy if Bitcoin bounces down here and sees support along that area for continuation to the upside. Does this require patience? Will it hurt a little bit? Bitcoin going all the way back down to 10,000? Yes. But even still, I argue Bitcoin is not bearish. If Bitcoin breaks below this trend line, we have another story potentially in play. We have a lower trend line down here in the $6,000 to $6,500 area. It's always possible, everybody. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not, but right now we have more bullish momentum than we do bearish. And even in a pullback to this upper trend line, conservatively, could be very bullish if we get a bounce off of there, if that happened. But let's zoom in and really talk about that. Will that happen? $10,000 Bitcoin. So what I've been doing recently is tracking this head and shoulders on this 6-hour chart. You can see it. We had a very ugly, small-looking right shoulder here, and essentially what I was talking about was a failed head and shoulders, a potential bullish scenario for Bitcoin. We get a bounce off of this neckline right here, and Bitcoin breaks this previous swing high, the right shoulder swing high, and cruises up to a target of right around $12,800 to $13,000. That would be the trajectory. Now, I want to be completely open with you. This was a very messy right shoulder, and I actually received one or two comments that said, Dan, the right shoulder is not confirmed yet. There is no right shoulder. So I'm 50% in agreement, right? And it's really tough to do technical analysis because if you're looking at different time frames, different charts, you do get different setups. Now, I still do want to use this right shoulder kind of as a baseline in terms of a head and shoulders. One thing remains true. We have this area of support right around 11,140, and that neckline is pretty obvious. But if you go to the daily chart, what really does ring true is maybe what a couple of those comments were saying, and I think this does make a lot of sense. A left shoulder, a head, and now here's that original right shoulder that we just looked at on the 6 hour, but if you're looking at a daily chart, it does look more clear to see a right shoulder here. So I would say part of me was wrong in not being a little more patient for a right shoulder to set up. And this does look a lot better. So what we can do is kind of discuss the same exact thing, a head and shoulders on Bitcoin charts right now. So this time, instead of that 6-hour head and shoulders, we'll use this head and shoulders on the daily. And the same thing we'll be looking for. We have a bounce off the neckline, meaning the same thing happened. We talked about we didn't get a break below the neckline last time. We didn't get a break below the neckline this time. So again, what we have in play is a failed head and shoulders. Now, a failed head and shoulders is a bullish pattern on Bitcoin that can play out in favor of the bulls. And really what we're looking for is Bitcoin to break the right shoulder from where we are right now, the bounce off of the neckline right here to this right shoulder swing high currently around 12,000. So now 12,000 is even more of a resistance. We have a right shoulder swing high of 12,000. So Bitcoin, to put in a failed head and shoulders, would need to cruise up 12,000, break it, see support above it, and continue on to its target. This target being around 13,300 or so. So that short-term head and shoulders that we were tracking, we had a target just under 13,000. This one, since the right shoulder is higher, we're measuring the height of the head to the neckline, and we're basically adding that to the right shoulder swing high, right? So we're looking at around 13,300, 13,400. Those are bullish targets. Now, I mentioned kind of in this video, do we even have bearish confirmation yet? In my opinion, we don't, right? Bearish confirmation, at least for the short term, because this isn't a big head and shoulders, we're looking at a break below $11,140, which hasn't happened yet. Actually, we got to bounce off of that area. So short term, if anything, Bitcoin has put in a bullish confirmation, but even that is tough to say because we're not that separated from that area. So we want to keep an eye on that. But yes, $11,140 is the area we're watching for. If that breaks, maybe we can start putting in some short-term bearish videos. We know we have a target to the downside. We're looking at right around $10,000 for this head and shoulders. If it does break to the downside, 10,000, 10,100. So going to this daily chart, here's the thing. We have the $10,000 target, 10,100. If Bitcoin does break bearish out of this head and shoulders, the neckline breaks, there's no support there, 11,140. This is our target right here. Now, keep in mind the inverse head and shoulders we've been tracking right here on Bitcoin with a neckline of 10,500. Again, just as Bitcoin bullishly broke out of this long-term trend line and we anticipate a possible pullback to the $10,000 area. This could be confluent with that short-term head and shoulders target. This could happen, $10,000 Bitcoin, prepare for it. But just as we conservatively anticipate a pullback like that, we're doing the same thing on this inverse head and shoulders, the neckline of 10,500. So pullback area for Bitcoin, yes, 10,000 to 10,500 continues to make a lot of sense, but I don't think we're there yet where we should start doing these bearish videos and start talking bearish and tweeting bearish. I just don't think we're there yet. If it happens, if we get confirmation, if Bitcoin breaks below 11,140, hey, maybe it happens tonight. You're watching this video 3 hours from now and you're commenting, Dan, it happened. Now what? Then we can start doing some bearish reversal videos and where we have support to the downside. But I still maintain, we talked about this setup back in spring of 2019. The Bitcoin is looking very similar to that move, in my opinion, when we look at the charts. The sideways consolidation after breaking the 50 moving average on this daily chart into the 50 moving average, that blue line, this sideways consolidation, the support so far above it is bullish to me. So maybe I'm one of the only ones still kind of short-term bullish for Bitcoin. I think most people are long-term bullish, but time will tell. I'm watching the charts. I'm remaining patient. I don't want to be like this indicator on these trading view charts and just, like a leaf floating in the wind, just changing directions every single time. So those are my thoughts. This is my TA for today. Let's see what happens going into tonight. Maybe 11,140 breaks, and then we can start doing some short-term bearish videos. Or we put in a failed head and shoulders and Bitcoin makes its way to $13,000+ Time will tell. At the end of the day, nobody knows. I'm just here creating content, showing the data, giving you my opinion, and that's all it is, my opinion, not financial advice. Let me know your thoughts below. I hope you're having a great week, great day. Subscribe. It means a lot. Have an awesome night, and God bless.